let's talk about social media, okay? And how do you use it, especially for the professional, for the workplace? Most people want to use it now for to find a job or to sell or something. So, Austin, I'm gonna start with you. They are different platforms throughout social media.
Right.
What are so we got LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and others. So
Right, right. So, I mean, you mentioned it. Social media is great for finding a job. That's how I found my job here on LinkedIn. Really grateful for LinkedIn. It's a great platform for meeting other individuals in your field. It's great for
networking.
yeah, networking, sharing relevant news topics, the latest trends that are going on in your field also. Yeah, so I think LinkedIn is very, very helpful for that.
Yeah, my personal favorite is Instagram just because there's a lot of advertisement on there. And, you can reach out to friends or and post like really cute pictures on there and just keep, stay in the know about what's going on with the world and popular trends and things like that.
And Rachel, I see you. I see you in Twitter all the time.
Yeah.
Scrolling on Twitter, so I know where you're going.
Yeah, Twitter is great because honestly, you can get the news like straight hand and from the people who's actually experiencing it right then and there from their particular state or country. And just overall, I mean, social media is big. I believe I look at the stats and about 81% of Americans have some sort of social media, whether it's like Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook, or just something overall.
Okay, and the thing is that social media it has come in and kind of changed the way we communicate. I don't know, is there anything communication wise that we can do through social media? We can message, we can call, we can video chat, we can network, we can meet people, we can get a job, we can sell, we can buy a house, we can buy a car, we can find a wife, a husband, something like that.
Yeah.
So another platform is Facebook, YouTube, Pinterest, and other, especially YouTube. YouTube now is almost like a TV channel.
Oh, it's great.
Yeah.
I want to throw out this statistic that I heard last night, which was streaming in the past 2 years has doubled, which
Right.
is just an insane statistic about how much people are getting away from cable
Right.
and satellite, and now they're just going to like YouTube TV.
Yeah.
And it's
and YouTube kind of started all of that, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Not only does YouTube offer all that, but you can learn from YouTube certain skills, technical skills. Like all you have to do to learn something is like look it up on there and like how do you do this?
It's my
Absolutely.
personal Google. I
exactly.
search everything through YouTube first, then I go to Google.
yeah. If you're a visual learner, it's
Yeah.
perfect.
Absolutely. What are the trends right now when it comes to social media?
Well, I think obviously everybody is searching for a job online. That's become the new norm. But recruiting also on the other side, companies and organizations, they need to find people just as easily as people are looking for a job. So I think those two things, recruiting and job hunting, is huge. But also want to mention sales topics. I mean, you kind of touched on it. Karina also said something about advertisements on social media. It's unbelievable how much sponsored content is available to anyone, and it's targeted to people because of how these companies sell people's data and narrow the results of
Exactly.
whatever they're interested in. Like if I was interested in cars and
They'd start
yeah,
advertising
you'd see
cars
a
on
bunch
your
of cars
feed.
on my
Absolutely.
feed.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Karina, you
exactly.
work pretty much, you're a recruiter here, and you're one of your main tools is
social
LinkedIn,
media and
especially
LinkedIn, yes.
LinkedIn. And so talk to us a little bit about that. Talk to us about the importance of LinkedIn and what's going on.
So LinkedIn is such a good social media channel to use, especially for recruitment, because one, you get this profile of like people's skills already listed on there, all the experiences that they have, and to see if they're actually if they're active on there. It's such a good tool to like differentiate between good candidates and better candidates. I do use it a lot, and it's my go-to whenever I'm looking.
So
for,
the days of just going walk into a place and just handing in a resume, are those days numbered?
those days are definitely numbered. I don't see them continuing for
Are you spoiled right now because you already kind of see you see the profile of the person, you see how the person looks like, what kind of kind of things the person are into. So it's kind of like more optimal for you to recruit, right?
Yeah, it's definitely a lot more efficient than going and to different fairs and trying to meet these people and then kind of keeping up with their paper copy on their resume.
Right. And from the marketing standpoint, you also work with social media a lot.
Right, because I believe we mentioned this before. We were recently talking about branding, like, for example, Instagram influencers. About 5 years ago, no one knew what that was. But nowadays, a lot of big companies, organizations are actually turning to that because they realize it's such a really great tactic to use. You can get one person to post something about your brand, and then all of a sudden it's explode out to hundreds, even millions of followers that they have.
Yeah, it's almost like a lot of people are using social media also like, what's the word that you said? Branding, like brand recognition.
Yes.
That's the word you used yesterday. Brand recognition. Influencers, that's a new marketing tactic. I mean, like social media has brought in like a whole lot of marketing tactics that are here to stay, and they're going to be here for a while. For example, we see a lot of influencers, and let's talk about the do's and don'ts of social media.
Yeah.
So I'm going to start with you, Karina, because this is what you do. Do's and don'ts when you let's concentrate. Let's narrow it down to job hunting. Okay, so I
Okay.
think that's one of the most useful things about social media and recruiting too and selling. But let's talk about job hunting. Do's and don'ts. What
So-
do you want to see? What you do not want to see?
Okay, what I want to see on a candidate's profile is one that they're connecting with people, that they're not at like 15 connections, that I see them actively on there and I see them posting and staying relevant to whatever industry they're interested in. That is a do. Stay relevant. A don't would be kind of
Type of picture profile.
unprofessional pictures or just not quality content that
Right.
other people would be in. Other people like businesses and professionals wouldn't be interested in seeing. Like, we don't want to see your cat on there. Go to Facebook for that.
So if you have somebody that on LinkedIn that you're interested in, do you go outside of LinkedIn to see, okay, so let's see how legit this guy is. Let's take a look at the Instagram. Let's take a look at the Twitter. Do you go that far?
I usually don't go that far because I feel like LinkedIn gives me so much information.
Get enough information.
Yeah, because it gives me enough professional information. And then if I am really interested in this candidate, then I would just bring them in after seeing their profile and get to know them better that way from
Exactly.
face to face.
Yeah, I mean, I want to say quick do. Definitely do connect with everybody, not just people in your specific field. I think everyone has something to teach you. Everyone has information about different topics that could help you out in your job search. And then there's so many don'ts. It's a lot, but I think the biggest don't is I can't remember what movie, but I think someone said that social media is like a party, and at every party you don't want to talk about certain things, which are like religion, politics,
Right.
Oh,
sensitive
yes.
topics. Like, you don't want to be that person that is preaching on social media because you could rub somebody else the wrong way. You want to keep it kind of centralized, very clean. Like you said, don't post pictures of your cats. Don't post anything inappropriate. Like, leave it for something else.
Exactly.
Right, and then also from the opposite end, what you say, you want to keep all your posts basically G-rated. But also, when you do post, you want to make sure everything's respectful. You want to make sure you're exhibiting your company in the right light. You want
Absolutely.
to,
Absolutely. Representation.
Yeah, and also networking too is important as well.
So before we wrap it up, any final thoughts when it comes to social media going forward? How do you see social media in the future?
Okay, well, one advice that I do have, if you're not on social media, get on it as soon as possible and build your brand on there and
Absolutely.
represent it as best as you can to represent yourself.
Absolutely.
And going off of that, you also want to make sure that you're monitoring your privacy as well. Because, for example, if you're tagged into maybe a photo that you don't want to be, make sure you go through your feed, clean it up,
Yeah.
make it look representable as possible.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Vital.
and to continue with that, make sure that your privacy is very secure. You don't want people from the outside viewing, sensitive stuff. But I also want to say, don't go overboard. I would say the best advice with social media is work smarter, not harder.
Exactly.
Try to reduce the amount of time that you're spending on social media. I looked at my phone and I think I had 8 hours of screen time per day.
Right.
So that's,
Overboard.
yeah, it's definitely overboard. Just, everything in moderation, I think is good.
Yeah, absolutely.
Agreed.
And I think that the way I see it, social media is now like the new business card. And
Oh,
definitely,
definitely.
right,
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
like, and although you said that you don't necessarily have to go outside of LinkedIn because LinkedIn offers so much information that you need, which is so true. But there will be people that also gonna start looking outside of LinkedIn.
Right.
They're gonna start taking a look at the Instagram,
Right.
at the Facebook, and Twitter. For example, I was watching the Dallas Cowboys cheerleaders reality show that they have. They pulled out pictures from 10 years ago
Oh, my
for one of the
goodness.
girls, and they kicked them out just because it got
wow.
Wow.
because she got a picture when she was drunk or something like that. And no, we don't want people representing our organization like that. So you're out. And I'm using them as an example, but a lot of people does
No, you're
that.
right. You got to clean it up. I mean, you hear about
Yeah.
stories on the news all the time of people getting exposed for their
Right,
tweets from
exactly.
10 years ago. You got
Kevin
clean it
Hart
up.
was one of those.
Yeah, exactly.
So, and whether it's a right or wrong, we don't know, but something that's going on, and just don't run any chances. Just go, better safe than sorry.
Right.
All right, so guys, great conversation. Loved it. Thank you very much for being here. I'll be seeing you guys next week probably. So, and for the people at home, please make sure to follow us on social media. We got Instagram, LinkedIn, YouTube, Vimeo. We're all over the place, so check us out. And with that being said, thank you guys.
Thank
See you
you.
next
Thank
week.
you. See you next week.